Okay. Your smile just makes me so happy for some reason.
my
I don't know
gosh.
why.
Thank
Okay.
you, Michael. Your smile also makes me happy.
Yeah, I got some stuff going on, but I'm working on it. Okay, so. Welcome to episode 8 of the Small Tales Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Barbaro Jr. Today's guest is Gabby Garcia Perez, who is one of the board members at the Community Soup Kitchen out of New Haven, Connecticut. Let's welcome her to the show. So, welcome, Gabby, to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Michael. I'm really happy to be here.
That's great. So, first question of the podcast, what's the story behind the founding of the Community Soup Kitchen, and how has it evolved over the years?
Absolutely. So again, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Gabby Garcia Perez, and I'm a board member at the Community Soup Kitchen. And so the Community Soup Kitchen has been around since 1977, and the mission is to really feed the hungry regardless of the circumstances. And the mission really of CSK is driven on this idea of bringing dignity and giving resources to people who are in need and who are needing of our resources. And we are located on 84 Broadway Street in New Haven. And over the course of the years, we have served thousands of meals. Back in 2023, we served over 70,000 meals. Coming in 2024, we served over 86,000 meals. And we are an organization that is involving a lot of different volunteers and community members and organizations and people who are just constantly focused on this idea of helping our neighbors.
That is wonderful. I love helping people too, but what you're doing is magnificent. That is great. Can you describe a typical day at CSK from meal preparation to serving guests?
Yeah, absolutely. So the chef arrives to CSK around 6 in the morning, right? And they start prepping the meals. The sous chef comes along. The staff then begins to attend around 7 a.m. To start prepping the meals and start packing them. And so during this time, the staff members are looking to prepare meals that are going to be taken out by the delivery people to our other sites around the New Haven area. Around 10 a.m. is when the staff begins to prepare for the people that are going to be dining in to CSK and going to eat at our 84 Broadway New Haven location. And around 11 a.m. is when we begin to welcome our guests. So at this time, they are told the announcements of the morning. They start to get in line for the serving of the meals. The volunteers are all there, ready to help, and then people are really just amongst conversation. And what's really beautiful at CSK is that along with meal preparation and along with meal serving, the guests also have the opportunity of accessing other resources, whether that's health resources or social services. And this is all located in one same spot, making it easy for guests to receive those resources that they need.
What type of meals do you provide, and how do you ensure they are both nutritious and accessible to everyone?
Absolutely. So the idea at CSK is that we're providing nutritionally dense meals for people. And so we serve lunch 4 times a week. And then in the mornings on Saturdays, we provide breakfast. And during this time, we're giving people 1 protein, 1 fruit or vegetable, and 1 starch within each meal. And this is all based on the recommendations that we've been given. And our food is all given to us by CT Food Share, which is our food bank. And so we are really grateful for the donations that have come along the way, in addition with partnerships with other organizations that have allowed us to continue our mission of feeding people regardless of the circumstances.
And it still boggles my mind that you had 80,000 meals 2024. That is crazy.
Yeah. And, it's all done with the work of volunteers, right? So our volunteers can go from local sports teams to people in the community to university clubs. And what's actually really awesome is that our organization has some staff members who first started out as guests at CSK, needing some of the services and meals, and then wanted to participate as volunteers and are now are people within the payroll and within the staff. And so what that shows is how CSK has been able to create a community for people, right? So not only is this a place where guests want to come and feel safe and feel like their resources and their needs are being met, but they also feel like CSK is generally there for them in terms of building a community, and we do so by creating a space that is safe.
Just a nice little environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Let's see. Beyond serving meals, what other services or resources does CSK offer to support well-being of your guests?
Yeah. So oftentimes food insecurity is met with also needing other resources and having other needs. So whether that's health related or socially related, but CSK really has identified that, right? So we have, along with other partnerships and other organizations, have been able to provide some of these resources on site at CSK at the 84 Broadway location. So under the health realm, we have Cornell Scott, who comes in and supports through street medicine, whether this is giving support to people facing homelessness or the fact that they come on site each week to give blood pressure and giving those resources that are more health related. We also have the public shower program that we've been able to develop after seeing that this was a need that our guests were needing at the time. In terms of social services, we have clothing and we have essential resources that are provided by Midnight Run, which comes in each week to provide some warm articles of clothing to our guests during when they're being served their meals. So again, this idea of identifying the needs in the community and being able to be that beacon of hope for people. We also have substance abuse resources for people to access while they're at CSK. And again, these are all resources that we've seen or have identified that are needed in the area, and as an organization have identified that and created a solution. So really happy to see how CSK has developed in that way.
That is wonderful that you help all these different types of people just find their way to getting back on their feet.
Right, exactly it.
That's great. Let's see. How does CSK collaborate with local organizations and businesses to expand its reach and impact?
Yeah, so along with working with Cornell Scott, Continuum, Happy, Midnight Run, CSK has also hosted a lot of events that have involved other businesses in the area. So this past November, we had a soup-a-thon event. And at the soup-a-thon event, we had different local restaurants donate a big pot of soup. And this was an event where we were essentially fundraising. And so this not only did get our word out there about who we were as an organization, but we were able to promote local restaurants, saying that they were partnering with us, being a supporter of our events. And this just shows that we are really community-based. And that is just one way that we're interacting with local organizations. Right now, we're in the works of developing and expanding to different neighborhoods. So with that, we've been able to reach out to new organizations and new people who are going to help us with that expansion and help us with developing in the right way.
This just makes me so happy that someone like you who is so passionate about helping people just get back on their feet, and you may be just a board member, but you just being a board member could go such a long way though.
Yeah. And what's really cool is that this energy that I'm able to share with you all is the energy of my entire team, right? So these are all people who want to help, and these are people who are volunteering their time to make this organization a resource that people can have for years and years and years, right? I mentioned this is from 1977, and it's just crazy to see the amount of volunteers that have been involved throughout the years. And these are people that are from these exact same organizations and communities, right? So they are people who are for their neighbor. And that is why it's really easy to just be passionate about something like this.
Okay, what role do volunteers play in the success of CSK, and how can people get involved?
Yeah, so I gave the example of Midnight Run. So Midnight Run is really carried out by this one volunteer in particular, and her name is Fran. And Fran is an individual who is a volunteer, right? And just to give you some examples of who she is as a person, right? So back in 2023, I think she collected over 400 coats and donated to adults and kids in the New Haven area, right? And so she each week comes to CSK and basically lays out all of the articles of clothing that she collected during that week to donate to people, right? And she does this on her own time, right? There have been examples of her going out and meeting directly with people who are going through tough times in life, and this is just an example of one volunteer. And it is beautiful to see how her drive for her community is what drives her as a person. And I think that's just one example of a volunteer who has given it her all. And her love is really seen by everybody at the soup kitchen. We also have a lot of different sports teams that come, local youth groups, university clubs, local volunteers. There are a lot of people who want to come and support on a lot of different ways. And another example of an organization is a local sorority chapter that comes in. And this is a big group of women that come in every so often to pack meals under the CHIPS program. And it's phenomenal to see how this dedicated group of women come week after week to be able to contribute to their community. So a lot of different people are involved in this effort, and we're always welcoming more.
Great, amazing, wonderful. I cannot find the words just to explain how I just feel. Like, this is great.
Yeah, and Michael, hopefully one day you can come visit us.
I would love to. Okay, let's see. Have you seen change in demand for your services over the years, and how has CSK adapted to meet these needs?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we have a lot of different organizations that come on site to be able to provide either health services or social services. And one example of a recent resource that we developed was the Public Shower Program initiative. And essentially, this is an opportunity for people in the community to come shower once a week, one day for males and one day for females, to come and be able to feel clean, feel safe, and do so in an environment that will protect them. And we have, as an organization, developed a lot of different initiatives like this based on the needs of the community, based on the needs that we're seeing from our guests that come each day. And whether that's having the hypertension group come and check on our guest, whether that's people who are being attended by or being seen by Cornell Scott individuals. And I think I want to mention a moment that happened recently. So we had at the soup event, Soupathon event that we had back in November, we had an award ceremony. And in this award ceremony, we mentioned Cornell Scott. And so a representative came up from Cornell Scott, and they said that they loved being able to support the people, the guests at CSK, because they knew that CSK was already taking care of those people, right? So what does that mean? Essentially, we are a space that is already supporting its people, already making sure that they're in a safe and clean environment. And it then makes it easier for these organizations to come and support further. So that is just a beautiful partnership and a beautiful moment that I was able to really see firsthand from the Cornell Scott people, and just see how these relationships are really making a difference in the community.
That is great that you have all these people just want to work together and make Connecticut just a better place.
Yeah, exactly.
Help people
Exactly.
who are in need and just, that is amazing.
Yes.
Can you share a memorable story or experience that highlights the impact of CSK has had on the community?
Yeah. So I remember last year or so, I came in with a friend to come and take some pictures and take some videos of what happens at CSK, looking at the stories of the volunteers. And I met this older woman. Her name is Beulah. And Beulah was really excited to see us come in and see that we were trying to amplify the voice of CSK to the broader public through social media, right? And she came up to me. She was like, I would love to share my story of what I do within my community. And she shared that she was somebody who, within her building, identified that there were people who were not able to leave their apartment to go seek these resources and seek these needs that CSK was sort of providing or providing a solution to. And she took upon herself to pack these meals and walk them and carry them on a little cart to the people in her building, right? Every single day, every single week, she was doing this for people and her neighbors. And this was a woman who you can just tell did this from the kindness of her heart, right? She was somebody who identified this need within the people so close to her, and she was the one to say, you know what, I'm not going to call anybody else. I'm going to be the one to create the solution to this. And I think that that mindset of solution oriented people is just an example of who CSK is as an organization. So that's just one moment that I loved from my time at CSK and something that I can relate to the organization as a whole.
That is some serious dedication, and she just sounds like she has a heart of gold just to be doing that every week.
Yes, exactly.
That is great. Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges CSK has faced, and what support do you need from them? What support do you need from the community to continue your mission?
Yeah, so I would love to share sort of some of the initiatives that CSK is looking to create in the near future. So right now our idea really is to close this meal gap, right, in Connecticut. And one way that we're doing so is by expanding to other locations in the New Haven area. So right now we're located in 84 Broadway Street, but we are looking to be in all the different neighborhoods, whether that's Fairhaven, New Hallville. And so we're doing so by reaching out to community members to see how we can make this possible, right? So what does that include? That includes getting new volunteers, getting new locations, getting new setups, getting new people in the community that we can trust to let us know how we can best help, right? Because the only way to really know how we're making an impact and where we can make that impact is by talking to the people, right? Talking to the people of that area. And so I think that's really an exciting project that CSK can use all the support for or with. And whether that's following on our social media pages or whether that's volunteering in person or donating online, there are so many ways for people to get involved at CSK, and we're always happy and welcoming more people to be a part of this project.
Where can people find more information about CSK, donate, or get involved as a volunteer?
Yeah, so first off, our website is incredible. It's really easy to use, and it sort of highlights all the different initiatives and resources that we provide our guests. Again, highlighting those health services, highlighting the social services, and also the services that we provide in terms of food and groceries. And you can follow us on our social media pages as well. So we have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can follow us at CSK New Haven, and then look us up on csknewhaven.org, and we would be happy to connect with you all and really excited to see how we can continue this mission that we have.
That is great. So that's the end of our podcast. It was such a pleasure to have you on this podcast.
Thank you, Michael.
I enjoyed it so far.
I enjoyed it super, and hopefully that we see you in our future with CSK, and hopefully you can come one day with your friends and come help out.
Yeah. Thank you for watching episode 8 of the Small Tales podcast. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Special thanks to East Haven Public Television for letting us use their studio space. If you'd like to get your business on the podcast, please send us an email or a message on Instagram. We'll see you next time on Small Tales.